Welcome everyone. Today, I don't want to motivate you with fake positivity. I don't want to give you quotes. I don't want to talk about success in a perfect, polished way. I want to tell you the truth. The truth about life, the truth about pain, and the truth about how success is earned, not given. This is not a story about talent. It's not a story about luck. It's not about someone who had everything. This is a story about a person who had nothing. No confidence, no money, no special talent, no support. But they had one thing. They were willing to take challenges when others ran away from them. And that single decision changed everything. So sit back, forget your doubts, forget your excuses, and just listen. Not with your ears, but with your heart. Because this story might be your own. And remember something important. Every minute you listen to stories like this, your English is improving without pressure. Your listening is getting stronger, and your mind is learning naturally. You are not just watching a video. You are training your brain. You are building confidence. You are becoming better step by step. So if this story touched you, if it felt real, if it felt like your life, stay with us. Here we don't just motivate you. We help you grow. We help you think. And we help you learn English through powerful stories. Your transformation has already started. Part 1: The Silent Life. He never spoke much. Not because he was shy, but because deep inside he believed his voice didn't matter. His name was Evan, 25 years old. No one remembered his birthday. No one asked how he was doing. No one cared what he was dreaming of. He was the kind of person who was always there, but never noticed. In college, he sat at the back. At home, he stayed in his room. On social media, he just scrolled. In life, he just survived. He watched others posting their wins, celebrating promotions, buying cars, traveling, laughing. And he stayed silent. Maybe I'm not meant for something big, he used to whisper to himself. He worked a small job, 9 to 5, earning just enough to survive. Not because that was his dream, but because it was safe. Every day felt the same. Wake up, go to work, come back, eat alone, sleep. No one clapped for him. No one said, "You're doing great." No one asked, "What do you want from life?" But the pain wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that he started believing this was all he was worth. One night something happened. The room was dark. The fan spun slowly. The world outside was silent. But inside Evan's head, a storm was rising. He stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Is this it? Is this my life? Wake up, work, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. No dreams, no challenges, just existence." He sat up, walked to the mirror, and looked at himself. He didn't recognize the face staring back. "Where did I go?" he asked. "Where is the boy who once wanted more? The one who said, 'I'll do something great'? Where did he disappear?" There was no answer, only silence. That night he cried. Not because someone hurt him, but because he had given up on himself. And the scariest thing was this: he didn't even realize when it happened. Evan didn't choose this life. He just stopped choosing. He stopped risking. He stopped believing. And comfort took control. He avoided hard conversations. He ignored challenges. He made excuses. He told himself, "I'm not ready yet." Slowly, comfort turned into a quiet, invisible prison. Every time he wanted to apply for something new, fear stopped him. Every time he wanted to speak up, he backed down. Every time he had an idea, he kept it to himself. "I'll fail anyway," he thought. "What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough?" And comfort started to kill him. Not physically, but mentally. He smiled less. He stopped learning. He stopped challenging himself. He stopped living. The world around him was moving fast. People were creating. People were failing but improving. People were scared but trying. But Evan waited. He waited for the right time. He waited to feel ready. He waited for life to change. Nothing changed. Because he never took a challenge. He never tested himself. He never went beyond his limits. He never fought for a better life. Slowly, the biggest lie became his truth. "I can't do it." Not because it was true, but because he never tried. One day, a childhood friend came back to town. They hadn't spoken in years. That friend was now working in another country, leading a team, building something meaningful. They met for coffee. Evan listened as his friend talked about risks, goals, and growth. He smiled on the outside, but inside he broke. Not because his friend was successful, but because he realized something painful. We were the same once. Same school. Same age. And now I'm just watching life, while he's living it. That night, Evan walked home slowly. No music. No calls. No excitement. Just one burning question in his mind. What happened to me? He didn't sleep. After standing in front of the mirror for a long time, Evan sat on the floor. No phone. No music. No distractions. Just silence. His body was tired, but his mind was finally awake. For years, Evan believed he was playing it safe. He didn't apply for better jobs because what if he failed? He didn't speak in meetings because what if people judged him? He didn't take responsibility because what if he wasn't good enough? So he stayed where he was. At first, comfort felt warm, like a soft bed on a rainy day. Safe, peaceful. But now it felt like a prison with invisible walls. He wasn't resting anymore. He was rotting inside. Comfort didn't protect me, he whispered. It slowly killed my hunger. Evan finally understood something painful. Comfort is not free. It has a price. Comfort steals ambition. Comfort hides potential. Comfort teaches you to survive, but never to grow. Every day he chose comfort, he lost a piece of the person he was meant to become. This time he didn't cry from sadness. He cried from anger, not because he failed, but because he never even tried. He remembered every missed opportunity, the interview he canceled, the course he never finished, the speech he avoided, the business idea he said maybe later to, that later never came. Comfort always whispered, "You're safe here," but it never said, "You're stuck here." The next morning, Evan woke up different. Not faster, not stronger, but aware. He opened a notebook and wrote one sentence. Comfort is the most dangerous enemy because it doesn't attack you loudly. It whispers softly until you stop moving. Tells you, you're doing okay. You deserve rest. You're not ready. You'll try tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Comfort isn't violent. It's quiet, sweet, and that's why it's deadly. Evan finally accepted the truth. I'm not untalented. I'm not unlucky. I'm not useless. I'm just trapped in a cage built by my own fear. A cage that looks like scrolling for hours and calling it rest. Saying next week for months. Starting things and never finishing. Pretending you don't care because you're afraid to fail. That's not peace. That's paralysis. Over the next few days, Evan began to observe his mind. He noticed something strange. Every time he thought about doing something difficult, his mind became a professional liar. Created fear, excuses, and fake stories. Join the gym? People will judge you. Start a side hustle? You don't know enough. Talk to your manager? You'll sound stupid. Your mind always chooses comfort, unless you train it. And that's when Evan realized something that changed everything. If I don't control my brain will control me. So one night, Evan picked up a pen and wrote 5 sentences on a piece of paper. These 5 sentences became his new mindset. He stuck them on the wall above his bed. Comfort is not peace. It is a prison. Easy choices now create hard lives later. Every time I feel fear, I must move forward. No one grows by staying the same. Pain builds the person I want to become. He read them every morning and every night until they stopped feeling like words and started feeling like truth. This was not motivation. This was reprogramming. Part 2. The first challenge. I don't care if it's hard. I just don't want to be the same man in 5 years. That one sentence became a seed inside Evan. But seeds don't grow overnight. They grow when you water them with action. And now, Evan was about to face his very first test. The first real challenge after years of choosing the easy way. And let me tell you the truth. The first challenge always feels the scariest. Not because it's the hardest, but because your mind is still weak. Evan woke up earlier than usual. The sun hadn't risen yet. He sat up, looked around his small room, and whispered, "I'm not going to waste another day just existing." Saying those words was easy. Doing something real is where most people fall back. But Evan had already made a decision. He would fight comfort. He would take the first step even if it was small. So he opened his laptop and searched for freelance work for beginners. Some people might say that's not a big step. Just browsing. But those people don't understand how the brain works. For someone who has been hiding in fear for years, typing those words feels like walking into a battlefield. Your hands shake. Your inner critic screams. You feel stupid. You feel like a fraud. Voices appear in your head saying, "You're not ready. You'll embarrass yourself. Don't even try." That's how powerful fear becomes when comfort has controlled you for a long time. But Evan didn't stop. He read articles. He watched videos on how to get a first client. He downloaded a free guide. He created a profile on a freelance website. It wasn't perfect. His profile looked basic. No reviews. No portfolio. No experience. But this time he didn't let that stop him. A few hours later he saw a job post. Looking for someone to write a short blog article about healthy habits. Beginners welcome. His heart started pounding. I've never done this before. What if they hate it? What if I fail? Fear rushed back fast. His hand moved toward the mouse to close the tab. Then he remembered the sentence on his wall. Pain builds the person I want to become. He took a deep breath and sent a message to the client. After he clicked send, something strange happened. For a moment he felt proud. Then his brain attacked him. Why did you do that? You're not ready. What if they reply? What if you get the job and mess it up? This is something people don't talk about. Taking action is hard. But the fear after you take action is even worse. That night, Evan barely slept. His mind played dark scenarios over and over. What if the client insults his work? What if they laugh at his writing? What if he can't deliver? But for the first time, Evan didn't quit. He accepted the fear. He sat with it. He didn't run back to comfort. He whispered, "If I fail, I learn. If I win, I grow. But if I run, I stay the same." The next morning, he checked his inbox. There was a reply. His hands started sweating. His chest tightened. His mind screamed, "Don't open it." But he did. The message said, "Hi Evan. Thanks for your message. Can you write a sample paragraph and send it within an hour?" This was it. The first real challenge. The first door that actually opened. And here's the truth. Opportunity never arrives with comfort. It always arrives with pressure. Evan froze. He opened his writing app. Typed a sentence. Deleted it. Typed again. Deleted again. Self-doubt attacked him like a wild animal. You don't know what you're doing. Your English isn't good enough. Why would they choose you? You're going to look stupid. He looked at the clock. Time was disappearing. Every part of him wanted to shut the laptop and disappear. But a small voice inside said, "You asked for a challenge. This is it. Finish what you started." So he typed. Slowly, carefully, fearfully. But he typed. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't expert level. But it was honest. Clear. From the heart. He used simple language. He focused on the reader. He followed the instructions. At the last moment he clicked send. Then he closed his eyes. Not from relief but from fear. Time passed. No reply. Then more time. That familiar feeling returned. You failed. You're not good enough. You stepped out and now you'll regret it. That's how comfort tries to pull you back. Not with logic. With emotion. It waits for fear, then offers an escape. Quit now. At least you tried. But Evan refused. He reminded himself, this fear is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that I'm growing. Later that evening, a notification appeared. He opened it. The message said, "Great work, Evan. I like your writing. Let's continue with the article. I'll pay you for this one." Evan didn't scream. He didn't celebrate. He didn't call anyone. He just stared at the screen with tears in his eyes. Not because of the money, but because for the first time in his life he got paid for doing something he was afraid of. That small payment didn't change his life, but it changed how he saw himself. For the first time in years, Evan believed something new. Maybe I'm not useless. Maybe I can build something slowly. But life doesn't reward belief immediately. Life tests it. The next morning, Evan woke up with hope. Not confidence. Not excitement. Just hope. He opened his laptop again. Sent more proposals. Checked websites. Waited. Nothing. Days passed. Silence. That voice returned. That was just luck. One job means nothing. Don't get your hopes up. This is the part no one talks about. After your first small win, reality often hits harder, because now you expect progress. But progress never moves in straight lines. Later, Evan finally received another reply. This time, the client asked for a longer article. Evan worked all night. He rewrote sentences again and again. Checked grammar. Tried his best. He sent the work. Hours passed. Then the reply came. Sorry, this is not what we're looking for. We'll go with someone else. That message didn't just reject his work. It rejected his confidence. Evan stared at the screen. No anger. No tears. Just a heavy feeling in his chest. Maybe I was wrong, he thought. Maybe I'm not built for this. That night was harder than before, because now quitting felt reasonable. One small success. One painful rejection. His brain did the math. Why suffer? Why feel stupid again? Go back to your old life. At least it was predictable. This is where most people quit. Not at the beginning, but after they taste hope and then lose it. Evan didn't tell anyone about his dream. Not his parents. Not his friends. Not his coworkers. Because how do you explain a dream that hasn't worked yet? So he fought alone. He woke up early. Worked his job. Came home tired. Sat on his bed. Opened his laptop again. Every day. No applause. No encouragement. No guarantee. Just a quiet decision to not go back to comfort. No applause. No encouragement. No one saying, keep going. Just silence. And silence is dangerous, because in silence your mind becomes your enemy. One night, Evan stood in front of the mirror again. But this time, he didn't ask, where did I go? This time he asked, why am I doing this to myself? His eyes were tired. His face looked older. His shoulders felt heavy. He whispered, everyone else seems happy. Why am I choosing pain? And then something hit him. A realization that was painful but true. Everyone looks happy because I only see their results, not their struggle. That thought changed everything. Evan noticed something strange. Even though he was failing, even though he was tired, even though he was lonely, he was no longer empty. He was engaged. He had a reason to wake up. A reason to sit with discomfort. A reason to fight his own limits. Pain had entered his life, but so had purpose. And purpose hurts before it heals. One evening, after another rejection, Evan slammed his laptop shut and lay down on the floor. No energy. No motivation. No strength. He thought, what if this never works? What if I waste years and end up nowhere? Tears rolled down his face. Not dramatic tears. Quiet ones. The kind you wipe away quickly because you don't even have the energy to cry loudly. That night, he almost quit. Almost. In the middle of that breakdown, one question appeared in his mind. If I quit now, will I respect myself years later? He imagined his future self. Same job. Same room. Same regret. And something inside him broke. But this time in a good way. He whispered, I would rather fail honestly than succeed by hiding. From that day on, Evan stopped expecting fast results. He expected pain. Rejection became normal. Slow days became normal. Doubt became normal. And strangely, that made him stronger. When pain is expected, it loses its power to stop you. Success doesn't come after pain. Success comes through pain. Pain is not a sign you're failing. Pain is a sign you're becoming someone new. Loneliness is not punishment. It's preparation. Failure is not the enemy. Comfort is. Part 3, The Inner War. Evan slept that night not because life was easy, but because he had finally stopped running from pain. But here's the truth. Stopping is not enough. Quitting comfort is not enough. Even taking action is not enough. Because the real war is not out there. It's not the clients. It's not the job. It's not the world. The real war is inside your own head. Every morning, Evan woke up with two voices in his mind. One said, "Let's go. You're building something." The other whispered, "You're wasting your time. Go back to sleep." One said, "Stay consistent." The other laughed. "You? Consistent?" One pushed him forward. The other pulled him back. And this wasn't once. It was every single morning. This is the war everyone faces. But almost no one talks about it because it's invisible. You can hide your failures. You can smile through your pain. You can tell people, "I'm doing okay." But inside, you're fighting your own doubts, your own habits, your own identity. And no one claps for that. Evan realized something powerful. If I don't control my mornings, my mind will control my entire day. So he made a simple rule. Wake up early no matter what. Sounded easy. But the first morning, when he opened his eyes, that familiar voice returned. Just a little more sleep. You need rest. Be kind to yourself. He almost listened. Almost. Then he said, "This is not about sleep. This is about self-respect." And he got up. That was his first small win of the day. And in this phase of life, small wins matter more than motivation. Evan noticed something else. Every time he sat down to work, his hand reached for his phone automatically. Scroll. Swipe. Waste time. Feel guilty. Repeat. He didn't even enjoy it anymore. It was just escape. So he made another rule. No phone for the first part of the morning. The first day felt like torture. He reached for it without thinking. He worried he might miss something important. But after sitting with the discomfort, something changed. His mind felt clearer, calmer, more focused. Every distraction I remove gives me back a piece of my life, he realized. But the hardest war wasn't with the phone. It wasn't with the schedule. It wasn't with the outside world. It was with his own voice. Every time he tried something new, his mind attacked him. You're not ready. You're not qualified. Others are better. What if you fail again? Why are you trying so hard? Just relax. And the worst one of all, who do you think you are? That sentence hurt the most. Because for years, Evan didn't believe he was anyone. And now he was trying to become someone. That change made his brain uncomfortable. One day, Evan read something that stayed with him. Your brain doesn't want you to be successful. It wants you to be safe. It sees change as danger. And suddenly, everything made sense. Every time he felt fear, it wasn't weakness. It was his brain trying to protect the old version of him. My brain is trying to save me from pain, Evan realized. But it's also saving me from growth. So he started responding to fear. Every time it whispered, "You can't do this," he answered, "That's exactly why I must." To win this inner war, Evan created a simple system. First, every morning he wrote a few honest sentences. Not fake positivity. Real reminders. I don't need to be perfect. I need to be consistent. Fear means I'm growing. Progress lives on the other side of discomfort. Second, he challenged every negative thought. Whenever his mind said, "You'll never be good enough," he answered, "I don't need to be good. I need to be brave." First, it felt stupid. But after repeating it day after day, his inner voice began to change. Third, he respected the process no matter how boring it felt. Some days were exciting. Some days were slow. Some days felt pointless. But he showed up anyway. He worked. He learned. He sent proposals. He reflected. Whether he felt motivated or empty, he showed up. And this created something stronger than motivation. Momentum. One day, Evan noticed something in his journal. Before, he wrote, "I have to wake up. I have to work. I have to fix my life." Now he was writing, "I get to learn. I get to build something. I get to try." This was the biggest shift of all. Because now he wasn't forcing himself. He was choosing this life. and choice creates power. Here's what Evan learned after months of fighting the inner war. Discipline is not punishment. It's proof you can trust yourself. Consistency is not motivation. It's small promises kept daily. Self-talk is not fake positivity. It's changing the story you tell yourself. Winning the inner war doesn't mean doubt disappears. It means doubt no longer controls your life. Part 4. Quiet transformation. The world still didn't know Evan. No fame, no followers, no applause. No one called him successful. But something was changing. For the first time in his life, Evan was showing up every single day. And that was creating a new version of him. Transformation is not loud. It doesn't come with music or applause. It looks like waking up when you don't feel like it. Choosing focus over comfort. Doing small things daily when no one is watching. Falling. Failing. Continuing. Forgiving yourself. Restarting without drama. It's not a movie moment. It's the quiet rewriting of your mind, your habits, and your future. Evan's life didn't suddenly become easy. He still had his job. He still faced rejection. He still battled doubt. But now he had a system, and systems beat motivation. Every morning he woke up early. Every day he did the work. Every night he reminded himself why he started. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Point 3 affirmations. No phone. One hard thing before breakfast. Every single day, Evan showed up for his dream. Whether that meant writing, applying, learning, or building. It wasn't exciting, but it was powerful. Because each day added a tiny brick to the foundation he was building. And bricks over time become walls. Walls become rooms. Rooms become homes. Evan was building the home of his new identity. Comfort still whispered. Distractions still called. Fear still visited. But they no longer controlled him. Why? Because Evan changed one small but powerful thing. He stopped negotiating with weakness. When his mind said, "Let's skip today," he replied calmly, "That version of me is gone." Not with anger. Not with force. With peace. Because real power isn't shouting at your weakness. It's refusing to give it your time. One day, Evan looked at his journal and saw this entry. Woke up early. Sent new proposals. Rejected again. No problem. Still proud. Still calm. Still going. That line stayed with him. Still proud. Still calm. Still going. Without realizing it, Evan had crossed a line most people never reach. He was no longer working to prove himself. He was working because this was who he was now. In his free time, Evan began doing something new. He learned for joy. Not to impress. Not to chase results. Just to grow. He read books about mindset. Watched videos about business. Took notes. Practiced writing every day. It wasn't about speed anymore. It was about depth. "I don't need to know everything today," he told himself. "I just need to know a little more than yesterday." That shift made learning beautiful. Before, Evan needed applause. He needed likes. He needed praise. He needed someone to say, "You're doing great." Now, he respected himself for waking up early. For doing the hard thing. For trying again after failure. For staying focused while others escaped. That self-respect was quiet. But it was unshakable. "I'm not better than anyone," he thought. "But I'm better than the man I used to be. And that's enough." From the outside, nothing dramatic had changed. Same apartment. Same clothes. Same streets. But inside, everything was different. He was more disciplined. More grounded. More confident. More emotionally stable. More focused. More peaceful. Real transformation isn't always visible. You feel it in how you react. How you think. How you carry yourself. That's the real upgrade. One cold morning, Evan went for a walk before the city woke up. No noise. No people. Just him and the sky. He watched the sunrise and smiled. Not because something amazing had happened, but because something had stopped happening. The old voices were gone. The urge to quit was gone. The feeling of being a failure was gone. He felt present. And that moment meant everything. "I am becoming the man I once prayed I could be," he thought. Not in front of millions, but in front of the mirror. These were the truths Evan now lived by. The world changes after you change. Don't wait for life to get better. Get better and life follows. Success is not one big decision. It's thousands of small ones. Wake up. Show up. Do the work. Repeat. Growth is boring. But so is regret. You choose your boring. Most people want to look changed. I want to be changed. Transformation is slow, painful, invisible, and permanent. If you stay long enough in the silence, you'll come out as someone the world won't recognize. But you will. By now, Evan had no big money, no audience, no overnight success. But he had something rare, a new identity. The old Evan, afraid, passive, addicted to comfort, was gone. A new man had been built, not by luck, not by hype, but by quiet, painful daily effort. And soon the world would see it. How to take challenges to create success. Most people believe success comes when life becomes comfortable. They think one day fear will disappear. Confidence will arrive. Everything will feel easy. That day never comes. Growth never begins in comfort. Growth begins the moment you step into something difficult, unfamiliar, and uncomfortable. That moment is called a challenge. If you're waiting for success without struggle, you're not being patient. You're waiting for an illusion. A challenge doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't mean quitting your job or changing your life overnight. A real challenge is anything that forces you to stretch beyond who you are today. Speaking when you usually stay silent. Trying again when you usually quit. Starting even when you feel unready. A challenge makes your heart hesitate. Your mind resist. That resistance is not a warning. It's a signal. Growth is close. Challenges matter because comfort never builds strength. Challenges break laziness. They reveal weakness not as failure, but as clarity. They reshape the brain, teaching it to endure and adapt. They build courage not by removing fear, but by proving fear doesn't control you. Each time you act despite fear, you send yourself a message. I can handle discomfort. Over time, that message becomes confidence. The right challenge feels uncomfortable but possible. Too easy and nothing changes. Too hard and you freeze. Growth lives in the middle. If you fear speaking English, the challenge isn't perfection. It's speaking a little every day, even with a shaking voice. If discipline is your weakness, the challenge isn't becoming perfect. It's doing one hard thing each morning before comfort takes over. You only need 3 things. Clarity. Know why the challenge matters. Commitment. Motivation fades. Commitment stays. Consistency. Results come later. Showing up comes first. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days tired. Some days doubtful. That doesn't mean the challenge is wrong. It means it's working. The moment you say yes to a challenge, your future changes direction. Not because success arrives instantly, but because you stop running from growth. You don't become successful in one day. You become different in one decision. The decision to face discomfort instead of avoiding it. Take the challenge. Stay with the discomfort. Let it shape you. And one quiet day, without noise or applause, you'll realize you've become someone stronger than you ever imagined.